What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another video on our 2015 Ram 2500 Tradesman. The last video right behind this one in the series is part one of our full Laramie interior swap. We are staying on that project, and today we're going to be making a little bit more progress, getting some parts, getting some pieces in. But if you guys missed part one, I would highly recommend you go check that one out. We kind of go over all of the base information. We're swapping seats, we're swapping dash, we're swapping everything that you would have and trying to make it function in the OE way. So in the last video, we've got door panels going in. Just to give you guys a brief little glimpse in here, this is where we're at. Everything's cleaned up inside, and we're going to be starting on disassembling our dash pad and getting that completely out so we can put our Laramie leather stitched dash pad in this thing as well. So there is a lot to take off. Basically all the side panels, all the lower panels, you can almost reverse engineer. It's really this top pad, and it kind of comes down into here. So we're going to get into that. Before we do that, we're going to start with something a little bit easier, and that is changing out our third brake light to a, basically, I don't know if this is a Laramie upgrade, so to say, but this is a newer style third brake light that the newer trucks come with on like the sport blackout packages that has the camera for the cargo cam. So we're gonna be getting into that. We're gonna be able to do that. That is basically right from the factory. This is actually the part number for that light right here. There's the part number. And we have got a aftermarket harness to adapt into this. And we'll get into how all that works, but we're gonna go ahead and run all of that, seeing that all of our interior panels are already down and where we need to access that. So I'm gonna see if we have to drop the headliner down. The third brake light's obviously right here. We need to make a short run over here, and then that harness actually runs all the way down the C-pillar right underneath here, and it actually goes up and connects into a connector up into your dash right here. So we got to take that apart to get the dash pad apart, so it all kind of joins together. So that is where we're starting. Hang tight, buckle up. I'll give you guys all the information that I have to give you, but this harness was from the guys over at MKS Performance and Off-Road, and this should allow us to have that cargo cam hook up and work with our 8.4 radio. So make sure you guys hit the like button, make sure you guys subscribe. Last but not least, make sure you guys get entered in our latest truck giveaway. This 02 second gen Cummins with a 6-speed manual trans with only 70,000 miles is going to one of you guys just by getting entered on our website, wrenchworks.com. Make sure you guys go get entered. But enough talking, let's get into the work and let's continue on with our Laramie swap. Easy peasy. We went ahead and just removed this one little clip up here from there. A little help of Dawson, and we are now feeding that sucker through without dropping the whole thing down. Oh yeah. So this harness is basically the reason why that can go in there a little bit further. And then I can pull that just a little bit further because the first connection point on these pins, as you can see, there are 2 pins that need to be populated into the back of this plug right here that I actually already have wires for. And then this harness will run the whole entire length and then come up to here. Well, before all the work gets done, and you guys don't even believe that I even did it, let's turn the camera on because we have the dash pad ready to come out. Let me rephrase that. I think we have the dash pad ready to come out. When you go to take this out, in the very center, look at that harness that is right up there by the center. Honestly, I don't think you can take it out until you start pulling the dash. time to catch up per usual, but as you can see, we have got our Laramie leather dash pad installed. I've got all 7,000 little 7mm screws back in this bad boy, and we're really just down to attaching all of the miscellaneous. So we still have our speakers up here in the front corners that we need to put back in, some miscellaneous bolts, but pretty much all the hardware is back in it. I didn't actually have any left over, which is shocking, but all the panels need to go back on in the center here. We are going to get into a little bit of a 8.4 radio issue with our third brake light cargo cam that we just installed. I'll get into that in a little bit, but I really want to kind of try to complete the dash. We can get our seats back in. We're going to be cruising along here. We're going to fly this thing back together. The biggest thing that I think I can help you guys with is, again, there's just about 7,000 of these things. I would say probably let's call it 40-ish, maybe 30-ish, but you can reverse engineer your old dash pad and kind of see all the locations. But up here in this little pocket right here, there is one 7mm head that's hiding. So you do have to kind of take out your speakers. These pockets right here, you've got these two little pockets right here. There's one here, there's the center if you have that, and then there's one offset right over there. But there is one dash pad 7mm screw hiding right in this one, and that was the only one that I think got me. Other than that, on the other side, you do have to swap your airbag into place behind here. It's fairly simple. It's time consuming, but it's not bad at all. Look on the passenger side. On this side, I've already got this panel back on together. We've got our glove box, our upper and our lower glove box back in there, all set up. But you can see we just got to plug in some speakers, put those things back on. It's gonna fly back together really nicely. Milwaukee light is not playing very nice with my light. You like this? You like this Milwaukee little battery powered underhood light? We're testing this thing out because my other one is corded and the cord's getting in the way. But this is from Milwaukee. Nice underhood light. Seems really nice. So here we go. Time to get this Laramie swap buttoned up. Real quick before I go ahead and just button this all up, our rear camera harness runs right along through here up this A-pillar, if you will. We've got it snaked pretty much right here, and then it pins into the back of this connector right here. Now, this wiring that we don't have for that third brake light, we also don't have on the other side of this connector right down here. And where that is going to lead to is that is actually going to route through the dash into our radio over here. So we do have to do some connector work over there on that side of that plug, but this is where that camera harness and that wiring is going to be, right inside this little panel right here. So where we're at currently is we've got our C-pillar trim back on, or B-pillar trim back on. A-pillar trim is pretty much back together. We're going to get to the radio last. Again, I still have to do a little bit of explaining there, but went ahead and pulled off our airbag, which was a lot easier to do when I could get to the back of the steering wheel without having to worry about the cluster or anything right in here. So went ahead and pried off our airbag so we can then go ahead and do our steering wheel puller to swap this over to our leather steering wheel. So we still have to do that. We still have to put together this area, but I was working on this wiring here first. The only other thing that I want to mention and kind of save you guys maybe the heartache, but we do have a man down on the field, and that would be the brake pedal switch. When you drop the column, I didn't know that it was fairly, I guess, common, so to say, because my dealership friend Kyle, he said, he goes, let me guess, you drop the steering column, and then when you go to put it back up right here, let's see if I can show you guys the brake pedal switch. Get all this crap out of the way here. Right up there. So when you go to put the column back in, you've got to watch that this spring isn't extended out past the little kick plate here for your brake pedal. As you can see right here, that sensor kind of plugs into the back of here, and I didn't watch and I wasn't careful enough, so I'm just make sure that that is pushed back in enough. So we'll have to get a new one of those before we button this completely up. So hopefully that saves you guys that trouble, but we can go ahead and put our headlight switch back in, put this little cover plate back in. We can kind of button up all this right here. So we're just gonna keep buttoning things up little by little, get to our radio last here because it'll make sense. We can go ahead and put our seats back in, and I can finally show you guys exactly where we're at on this whole seat thing, because not only do we have this set of seats, we also have this set of seats. So there's two pairs of seats here, and I'm gonna get into that story a little bit when we just wrap up a little bit more work. I think it's time to catch up for the final time before we just go ahead and knock this job completely out. Just to catch up here briefly, we have got the rear seats in and completely done, minus any type of wiring, because these are actually heated rear seats. So we've got some things to get into real quick. I'll try and breeze through them, but went this morning to pick up a steering wheel puller that has some ears kind of similar to kind of like that, so I could pull the steering wheel correctly, because we were using some hob job way that I came up with last time because the parts place wasn't open when I did it last time. So went ahead, got the correct steering wheel puller. Make sure when you pull this apart, your clock spring is the biggest part of this job. This kind of indexing ring, when you go to put the new one back on, obviously you don't want this to move or spin, otherwise it'll get messed up. But this kind of indexing pin is important when you put the new steering wheel back on to make sure that that's correct. So got it taped up, got that good to go, so we can go ahead and put on our leather steering wheel. Our new radio came in because I got a new radio. So the radio that I had before, or basically the 8.4 screen that I had before, was from a 2013. Now, in order to run our additional third brake light cargo cam, from what I've told and what I've learned, 2016 is where that kind of came into play, and the actual 8.4 screen in 2016s and up are set up for two cameras, the one on the tailgate and the one on the third brake light. I've been told that basically what's inside the radio from 16 and down doesn't have what's needed. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I just went ahead and got a 16 one just to make sure when we fire this bad boy up and we do the programming that's needed, we don't run into a radio problem, and then I'm going to take all this back apart. So got a 16 radio to have the additional cargo cam in the back, so I was waiting on that. That can go back in. That means our dash can go back in. That means our center console can go back in, and we can start putting in our seats along with our steering wheel. And we'll be waiting on our brake pedal switch for tomorrow, but the truck can be completely done. So that's kind of where we're at. We're ready to kind of just get back to work and get it done with our new screen, with the steering wheel pulled. Now we've kind of got seats over here, we've got seats over there, we've got center consoles everywhere. but when I was at our local, basically Dodge Ram Mecca salvage yard, I came across this console that had the heated rear seat section on this rear console and had a set of Laramie leather seats. So I don't know if I've told you this before, but I went ahead and bought another set of seats because those rear seats were heated. The ones I had previously were not. So I'm kind of taking the best of two sets of seats and putting them together with the console, with the controls in the back. Again, some leather Laramie trucks did not have heated rear seats. Is it really that big of a deal? Do I ever sit in the back? Probably not. But if we're going to do it, I saw the opportunity, and we should be able to kind of resell what I'm not needing and then kind of come up with the best solution and have everything that we need and have a fully optioned truck. Now, let's just talk about the wiring real quick. The truck that I pulled this other set of seats out of was a Laramie, was almost pretty much the same exact year as this truck. In order to get the proper seat operation out of all of the functions, the heated, the cooled, the power, all of that stuff, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until I can pull that cab harness out of that truck. That pretty much does from all the way back here, all the wiring that's underneath the floor up into the upper part of this dash, this whole, I mean, pretty much everything that you can see that runs over here, up through there. Pretty much there is a upper dash harness that is separate, and then there is a lower cab harness. Now, what I'm thinking is that might simplify all of the additional harnesses and features that I would have to add into this existing harness. It's just getting to a point where, man, there's a lot of add-on stuff versus just almost swapping harnesses from trucks, which seems crazy. It seems overkill, but again, look at how much work we've had to do with just not knowing what wiring this truck does or doesn't come with. So pulling that harness, I think, is going to streamline everything. Again, we're kind of getting back to the, if you have a truck that you can pull every single thing out of one truck, take it all. Take the whole thing, buy the whole truck, whatever you need to do. If it's wrecked, however you can do it. But I do think that cab harness might be the solution. Now, I do believe MKS is getting to the point where they are going to be making harnesses for the seats along with the cargo camera, the map light pocket. So if you're not ready to kind of do the whole entire thing, I do know that this does seem pretty crazy, and it's very, very extensive, a little bit more extensive than I even anticipated. So I know it might be a lot for a lot of you guys, but it's all doable. But just know you're gonna have to have some patience. So here's our old radio that we will not be using, and we are also not gonna be using this center console bezel as well either, because again, on that other truck that I found, it was kind of like a little bit better of a match with parts. So these door panels with the wood grain in them don't really match the year specific kind of look for a Laramie truck with those wooden bezels in the door panels. So over here, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this before, but we went ahead and pulled that bezel out of this other truck because this wood grain kind of matches the door panels. Here is the steering wheels. Again, very similar look, just this one is leather. We're not going to be getting into working on a heated steering wheel just yet. We've already been swapping quite a bit, so it's to the point where I really just need to get the truck back up running drivable, and then when it comes time to swap maybe the harnesses for the heated and cooled, which I am going to get to. If you guys are interested in that and you want a fully OEM functioning swap, we are still going to be doing that. But this video in and of itself has taken quite a few days with this and that. So we're going to complete the job. We're going to go ahead and wrap up what we have to the best of our abilities, get things functioning. I am going to try to pull power and ground and get the seat functions working as far as up, down, moving. It may not be exactly OEM, but I do believe I can get those to work pretty easily. It's really just powering and grounding a motor inside the seat. So let's just get to work and let's get this wrapped up. quick, before we put our new radio in, we've got the wiring pinned on the back of the connector that goes into the radio. That wiring goes from this plug on the back of your radio over to where we wired in the wires for the camera underneath right here. So wires come up here, in through that connector, through the dash, and into this connector. That should pin into our radio, which allows us to have that cargo cam. All right, my friends, well, we are done with the Laramie swap in the truck. We have got everything in there. Everything is working. I mentioned what we're going to be doing in the very future for the heated and cooled part of that, but we do have all of our power functions on both of the power seats. You can't hear that one working as good with me talking, but we've got the lumbar, we've got the up and down, back and forth, all that on the driver and the passenger side complete. We've got everything kind of cleaned up in here. As you can see, we've got all of our DIN pocket lighting is working. Everything is functioning to where we want it, let's put it that way. Our new 8.4 screen is actually still initializing, so I can't show you guys like the screen. It's still kind of like going through its process of, I had to put the unlock code in there, all that stuff. So it's still thinking and getting happy in there, but leather steering wheel is done, door panel seats, new center console, rear seats, the third brake light. What else? What else am I forgetting? The dash. So we are looking good. I'm super thrilled. I'm super pumped the way it came out. I love the wood grain on the dash that matches everything else now. So it all looks very, very uniform. Super pumped, super pleased. Will not be the last time that we are inside the interior. Again, I am going to get the heated and cooled features of the seats to function, but we'll do that for another time. I'm happy with the way that it turned out. We've got a full leather interior in this bad boy now, and it looks killer. It's coming along. One look over here on the passenger side. It all looks good. It's looking good. That is pretty much going to wrap up this video. Make sure you guys hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you guys go to wrenchworks.com and get entered in our current second-gen truck giveaway. Time is ticking. It's not going to be around forever. Make sure you guys grab all of your holiday gifts, the Christmas shopping, get it done, get it out of the way, and get a chance to get entered to win a truck at the same time. We'll see you guys in the next video. Love you guys. Appreciate it. See ya.